Suicide Squad is a game that has been surrounded by a lot of controversies, and by now I'm pretty sure most of you guys have forgotten about it due to a critical mass of the community just basically bombing this game to death for multiple reasons. Some people hated the departure from its normal free flow combat and the fact that it was live service, and some hated the game because it was quote unquote woke. But the main reason that most people, even people who like the game, can agree on was bad about the game was the decision to kill off Batman and the rest of the Justice League members. A while back I made a video called The Clone Theory, and in that video I explored the idea of the Justice League members that we killed possibly being clones, among other interesting theories that could ultimately end with us getting the Justice League back. Needless to say, that video popped off a bit and exposed me to some of the most toxic people in our community. But giving you guys that context, in this video you will learn that I was right, they were wrong, and I was right along with everyone else who believed that the Justice League was alive. So unless you've been living under a rock or this game just completely fell off your radar, in the newest season we find out that the Flash is alive and he seems to be a bit fatigued or whatever. He falls asleep, he passes out, and we capture him. But for the most part, this just basically proves everything that everyone has been saying, that the Justice League was alive the whole time and they were never going to just straight up kill off the Justice League permanently, at least. Say what you will about it being a bad idea for them to kill off them in the first place, whether they were clones or mind controlled or whatever, but I truly do believe, and I have always believed, that they were going to bring the team back. Now this, along with all the other Easter eggs that basically was hinting at the Justice League members coming back, there had also been some type of news where I've also been hearing some rumors of a potential new Justice League game coming out within the next couple years, and it could possibly be a potential retcon or rework of what happened in Suicide Squad, basically them following the premise of them just repairing the reputation around the globe to save face with the people of Earth so that people won't despise them for what it seems like what they did. But I don't know how that would even work out if I was a regular human, a regular guy, and I seen all these horrible things that my favorite heroes were doing. Even if they came back claiming that they were mind control, it would be very hard for me to believe them and trust them, considering everything that has happened with Brainiac and the like. But that could be a thing. Could that revive the game though? I'm not sure. Could the Flash being alive and me being right revive the game though? I wouldn't say it would. I think the only thing that would actually revive this game would be them actually making a whole new game, and not just a new Justice League game where the Justice League is back and they're going to fix their problems and they're going to save face with the people of Earth. No, I think they need to make a whole new Justice League game and actually just con everything. Just pretend like it didn't even happen, to be honest. Take what happened with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League as a lesson. Yes, this game was bombed to hell by the community, but the reason for that is they tried to give a free flow audience a game that wasn't for them. Do you guys remember what happened with Ubisoft? When they basically changed up the formula of their games, of how their games work, they went from free flow to RPG like elements, and they maximized the hell out of profits with things like time savers and cosmetics. That may have worked out with Ubisoft, but it doesn't work out for everyone. Hell, it hasn't even worked out for Ubisoft because they now have a very split audience. They have two different types of people in their audience. But in this case, it just did not work with the whole live service aspect of a superhero game. For the most part, with Ubisoft, theirs was a bit different. I personally feel that it was a more seamless transition from what they had, normal single player game, to single player RPG. Like, they literally changed one thing, and that was the style of gameplay, and added a few more transactions in there to maximize profits. But for the most part, I think they did it right compared to how WB Games did it, because a transition from single player story driven gameplay to live service grind hell gameplay is very different from single player to single player RPG. It's very different, and it's too much of a shock to the fans, and that's why I truly do believe that this game got bombed to hell, because they tried to do too much way too fast, and whoever was in charge, they were focused on profits too much to realize that they were moving way too fast with this. Now, if they took the same route that Ubisoft did, where they changed a little bit, Like, what if they made a Suicide Squad or even Gotham Knights? What if they made an RPG but cut the live service out and did the microtransactions like Ubisoft? Then I think they would get those profits that they want so bad without compromising too much of the gameplay and the story aspect of the game. But I truly do believe that if this gets a Justice League game, it needs to be a retcon, needs to be a reboot, because this is what people wanted in the first place. We wanted a Justice League game. Don't get me wrong, when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League first came out, I liked it. I had high hopes for it. I had a bit of fun playing the game, but how they handle the new seasons, it sucked. Because yes, the gameplay to me is so much of a time sink that it's just not even worth it. It's like you can be playing for hours and not really get anywhere. And I'm not a big fan of that. One of the big things about gaming that people love, and I'm probably going to get into a bit of psychology with this, is human beings, we don't like doing something that doesn't make sense or that isn't going to take us anywhere. If your game progresses so slowly to the point where the person is just spending their time doing the same 3 missions over and over and over again in hopes of getting to a certain mission or even unlocking a certain part of the game, then it gets to be very tedious and pointless. Why I ended up uninstalling the game. But because I am a big fan of the Arkham series and the lore, I am still following this game and everything that happens with it. I feel like the game had its moments where it was pretty good, but for the most part, they fumbled it as far as the game loop and as far as the story. So with that being said, do I think the fact that they are indeed bringing the Justice League members back and possibly coming up with their own Justice League game mean that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League deserve a second chance? For that, I would leave that up to you. Me personally, I may pick the game back up if we end up getting to play as the Justice League or something like that, or if something changes in the lore. But for the most part, I'm just going to be watching what happens on YouTube, like you're probably watching this video right now. Do you think it deserves a second chance? Let me know what you think in a comment. But I just want to take some time to appreciate the fact that in Mrs. Freeze's little cutscene thing, she addresses the Flash as a scientist, and I really like that. I never really liked when people treat the Flash like this kind of can't sit still type of guy, and he's just fast in every aspect. I never liked how people treated the Flash in that way, because the Flash is so much more than just a fast talking speedster. He's almost just as good as a detective as Batman. He's almost just as smart as Batman, if not smarter in some cases, because he can think so freaking fast. And I'm gonna just come out and say, I think that most versions of the Flash, except for probably Jay Garrick, can beat Superman just because of all the hacks that he has. And I'm hoping that we are actually able to explore all of the hacks that he has in the future parts of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, or maybe even a Justice League game where we get to see his super smart shine. Well, that's my take on it, on the matter. Be sure to check out my video on the clone theory. Comment, subscribe. Peace.